You're dealing with an animal that could potentially kill you with a single bite to any part of your body. And no other animal can do that. You can get bit on the tip of the finger and you could die from that. And the jaguar is not going to do that. You might lose your finger, but you're not going to lose your life. So we have to take into account what these animals are capable of.
This is the gamble, the risk that you take when you're dealing with an animal that can kill you. And I guess it's no different if you get into the cage with a tiger, or if you get into the cage with a lion or a bear.
When you handle a venomous snake, you are in charge. If that snake bites you, you have failed to do your job properly. Therefore, being bitten, and let me go back a bit, not just by a venomous snake, by any snake, being bitten means that you have screwed up.
I don't believe you have to be envenomed, just like I don't believe you have to have a fatal or dangerous car wreck. I would like to go my entire driving career without a car wreck. I would like to go my entire career of dealing with venomous animals without being bitten by one.
I'm not getting bit. That's the first thing you got to set in your mind. I will not get bit. I will abide by all the rules that I'm supposed to do.
Most people say it's not a matter of if, but when, that it is a matter of if.
We have a set of protocols that we work on, and these are our hardcore guidelines for working with venomous snakes. And these are things like there's always two people in the building. Should there be a bite or should you need backup for something?
Nobody handles a venomous snake on grounds without a second person present.
If you're feeling off that day, if you're feeling sick that day, or you've just got this gut feeling you shouldn't be working with them that day, that's fine. Go work something else.
Nobody pins an animal here except me. Nobody does a medical procedure on an animal except Kristen and I.
If I have to do anything, sex the animal or manipulate the animal in a way, maybe remove an external parasite, their head's in a tube.
We always use the proper tools, and if we think the hooks are too short, we'll use a longer one.
We don't handle venomous snakes during inclement weather when the lights could go out on you suddenly. The last thing you want to do is be standing there with a cobra on a hook in the pitch dark.
We always make sure our areas where we work the animals are very clean. To me, the more stuff that gets in my way just means the more chance of me getting bit. I like to have as much room to run as possible. So if I have a bunch of stuff on the table when I'm working a snake, that's just not a good idea. If I can't see their head, then I don't know where that snake's going.
All of our venomous enclosures are locked. They're kept inside a locked room. Only certain key staff are allowed to have keys to the enclosures. The keys are monitored. They're not to leave the building on any of the staff members. They're required to put the keys into a lockbox before they leave. All the cages are required to have proper identification. They all have special zoo identification numbers.
We always have a radio. We always have a vehicle that we know is running and the gas is full.
There's a color coding system for the anti-venin, and there's a snake bite button and protocol if something happens that goes directly to the ambulance.
We have the numbers for all the physicians that we use as consultants. We keep anti-serum for every species that we have on grounds that they produce an anti-serum for. There are a couple snakes I'm working with that there are no anti-serums made for, but that's part of the reason we're working with them, is to come up with ways of finding something either that will cross-react with it or make an anti-serum for it.
Since our inception in 1998, we've only had 2 people that can handle the whole collection. There is varying degrees. Obviously, fertile ants and mambas are much more agile and dangerous, but we treat all venomous snakes the same. So a copperhead is just as dangerous as the mamba to us.
If I catch them handling, and I don't catch them doing this, but if I were to catch them handling a copperhead any different than a black mamba or with any less respect, then we've got an issue.
Well, here we treat almost all the animals as they're venomous, even the non-venomous snakes. The staff are actually required to hook out of the cages before they were to handle them anyway, and what that does is give them practice.
If I deal with a venomous animal, I don't touch them with my hands. Unless that animal's health and well-being is at risk, there's no need for me to touch it. I haven't had what I would consider close calls where the animal was, where I was at risk, because they're not near me.
We try to have hands off as much as possible. We do have to do certain blood work, and we do have to have hands on for certain research projects and whatnot. But in general, most accredited zoos are hands off.
There's a small segment of people that would need to touch those animals. The people who extract venom, those people need to touch it. Most other people, unless it's veterinary care, have really no reason to touch an animal, in my opinion. People do it and get away with it, But I think that's more a testament to the animal's tolerance than it is to any kind of skill. I've never had an instance where the animal could have potentially bitten me at this point. And it's not because I'm arrogant and I think I'm so good that it's never going to happen, because I don't depend on my reflexes or my knowledge of the animals. I depend on the things that I do and the tools that I use to keep them at arm's length. They're over arm's length, double arm's length, and I have really long arms. They're like chimpanzee arms.
Our basic thing is just being strict on what we do. You know, everybody has to follow the same procedure. And if you follow these procedures, you won't have a problem.
Well, the safety record so far is clean. There has not been an accident yet. It could happen at any time, of course. But we have never had an envenomated employee as of yet, and there's been no bites from a venomous snake to anyone.